A little over a year ago, I made a video breaking down the top 10 best coasters for 2021. And in that video, I said 2021 would be one of the greatest years for coasters ever. And 2021 came and went, and unfortunately, that was simply not the case. Practically every coaster on that list was delayed or didn't live up to the hype. Matter of fact, let's go through that list and let's see how these rides actually turned up. Number 10, Emperor did not open. Number 9, Tron also did not open. Okay, number 8, Abyssas. This one did open, but a lot of people are saying it's not that good. I mean, it's not bad. It's just not as good as people were saying it would be. Number 7, Jersey Devil. Yeah, no, people have been saying this is hot ass. Number 6, Ride to Happiness. I put this way too low, but yes, this ride opened and it was a smash hit. The only coaster so far that lives up to the 2021 title of the best year for coasters ever. Number 5, Conda. People have been saying this is also pretty good, but not all that it was hyped up to be. Same thing as Abyssas, basically. Number 4, Pantheon. This didn't open. Number 3, Park Asterix Blitz. This also didn't open. Number 2, Iron GWAZI. This also didn't open, goddamn. And number 1, VELOCICOASTER, which did open to rave reviews, though I'll be talking about that in another video. So overall, it was kind of an overhyped year, as only 50% of the coasters on the list were rideable. The other 5 of the 10 were closed, and even the 5 that were open, most of them didn't live up to the expectations. So this year, I'm going to be a little skeptical in calling it the best year for coasters ever. That being said, this is by far the best year for coasters ever. You got fire left, right, and center. There's Vekoma, there's RMC, there's more RMC, there's B&M, there's leftovers, there's new ones. It's all hopefully coming this year. If not, then I quit coasters. So today I'm going to break down the top 10 best coasters for 2022. Also, one more thing before I start, I'm not including Chinese coasters because quite frankly, we do not care. These are coasters that you'll never ride and they're really cool looking, so we can drool about them in a separate video, but it's not really fair to put these things against our like dinky shit in America, whatever. Let's go. Number 10 is Wonder Woman Flight of Courage. Last year I might have put this higher. In fact, last year I did put it higher with Jersey Devil, but the general consensus is that this isn't really that great of a coaster. It looks to run really slow, especially after the mid-course, and while some people said it runs better at night, the coaster only runs good at its quite literal peak performance and then sucks ass for the other 3/4 of the time. It's not that good. Wonder Woman is Jersey Devil with a 1-foot height record and a couple twists at the end. It's basically a carbon clone, so I'm moving on. This is a relocated Intamin Launcherberg from Williamsburg to the new Lost Island theme park that may or may not open this year. And this looks like a fine layout. Not great, but not bad either. It's Intamin. They're some of the most consistently... Actually, that was a stupid sentence. Intamin is either fire or dog shit, but this looks like fire. You start with this hydraulic launch out of the station, which looks like an absolute gut punch into this teeny tiny top hat. No, it's actually like tiny. It's almost comically small. And then you dive down into this twisted speed hill that probably gives deadly ejector, and you are just hauling through the rest of this layout. It almost looks like an RMC Raptor with how fast it's going. Some more twists and airtime pops, then it slows down for a slow motion heartline roll into the brakes. It looks really good. The only thing holding it back is it's a little short in both height and ride time, but what it packs in is probably one of the most intense on this list. A great headlining attraction for the new park. I'm not calling it fucking American dryer looping or whatever, it's QUIMERA. This is considered one of the most intense coasters on the planet, and it definitely looks the part. With those 3 vertical loops all stacked on top of each other, it not only looks like a roller coaster at a Final Destination, but it also kind of rides like one. This thing just speeds through the layout like KANONEN. It's so compact that it's almost dizzying watching the POV. Like you are for real, just zigzagging back and forth, then hitting a loop, then zigzagging, then hitting a loop, then rinse and repeat. And there's even some airtime hills at the end that look to give pretty intense pops. Overall, like KANONEN, this is a great looking headliner for this resurging park. You might not know what this is, and I didn't really know what it was either before this video, but this is a Gravity Group Woody with a backwards back car. I'm pretty sure this was supposed to open like 2 years ago, but it's one of those pushbacks, but regardless, it looks really good. It kind of reminds me of a GCI and an RMC if Gravity Group built it. It's kind of funny, this ride opens pretty much exactly the same as New Texas Giant, and then a lot of the maneuvers towards the end are very RMC-like with the short twisted airtime hills, but then it's also kind of GCI-like with the low-to-the-ground bends and turns. It does look to lose a little steam by the end with a lot of these wavy straight track things like I like to call it, and these long drawn out turns, but the beginning still looks really good, and I'm sure the ending will still be cool facing backwards, not knowing where you're going. Like just imagine not knowing this layout and then going through an ejector hill out of nowhere. I know it doesn't sound that crazy me talking about it now, but trust me, it'll be fire. Other than that, there's not a whole lot to say about this ride. It just looks like a very solid Gravity Group. Moving on. Now this is the ride we know the least about. We don't even really know what the layout is besides this clusterfuck of track. Now this has been in the works for a while, but it's been called the most themed coaster of all time. So if it actually lives up to itself, then the wait will definitely be worth it. I can just imagine you in a violently rotating car with Spirit in the sky blasting in your ears and projections and physical sets and effects all working together around you to create a chaotic yet amazing experience. That's best case scenario. Honestly, best case scenario, this is like number 4, maybe even number 3. But worst case scenario, this is laugh track with Marvel theming. Now this is where we get to the real elite coasters. The initial 5 are all pretty good, and Guardians is even great, but this is where you get to top 50 in the world territory. At first, I really did not care about this coaster one bit. I thought it'd be good, but all these new gen Vekomas were all kind of starting to look the same, and we're not getting one in America, so I don't know, I kind of just brushed it off. Then I watched a POV. This ride looks incredible. It has everything you could ever want in one of these new gen Vekomas. This thing has a corkscrew through the station, more twisted airtime hills than I have subscribers, and a freaking inverted top hat. An inverted top hat. Who even does that anymore? This ride actually looks mental, and the fact that it's only at number 5 just shows how strong the next 4 are. This is like coaster perfected as if it wasn't already perfect. I could talk about this one all day, but we still have 4 more rides to talk about, so I'm gonna get to it. Now I know this one seems, some people are pegging this as the best coaster for 2022, and I can totally see why. This will be one of the best RMCs when it opens. It's got a crazy dive loop, the insane 0G stall, and a massive outer bank. And then you have a super snappy heartline roll and a quad down finale. It reminds me a lot of Steve, how it's divided into 2 halves, with one being big elements and one being small. It's not nearly as long as Steve and definitely won't be better than Steve, but I could honestly see it being top 3 RMCs in North America, and plus that color scheme is so fire. Like I love how Joker does the one rail one color and one rail the other, and I love when some RMCs have white wood, and this literally does both of that in one. Now at first I thought that AERIE Force 1 might be better than this, but then I watched another POV of this, and you know, this smokes AERIE Force 1 out of the water. The pacing on this ride is simply monumental. It really does just shred through all of its elements, and speaking of the elements, there are so many standout moments on this ride, it's not even funny. The first drop is absolutely massive, like it's literally a dive coaster drop off the gate. And then there's the huge outer bank, the death roll, like come on, this is just stacked. You got a wave turn over the station, you got the purple track, you got the crocodile cars, like this ride is just a massive W overall. It's going to be the most intense RMC with its monster pacing and probably forceful valleys and turns, and to be honest, it might have a shot at dethroning actually no, that's a lie. It's not going to dethrone Steve, but this ride still looks really good. However, I've mentioned in a video before that I do think there is another SeaWorld ride that looks better, and that ride is... I might get a lot of flack for putting this above both RMCs, but I can't help myself. I just love Blitz coasters. Maverick is fire, Cheetah Hunt is fire, I'm riding VELOCICOASTER and Hagrid's in like a week, and those are going to be fire, and Pantheon looks like the best out of all of those. Maybe not VELOCICOASTER, but besides that, it looks the best. People say that the top hat and VELOCICOASTER are one of the best parts. Well, yeah, now try Pantheons, which is like 10 degrees steeper. You got the switch track, you got the slow 0G roll out of the gate, and that heavenly outer bank that honestly looks sharper and better than Steve's. This ride has phenomenal pacing, phenomenal elements, phenomenal restraints, and overall it just looks to be the second best coaster for 2022. However, it barely misses the number 1 spot, which just goes to show how strong the number 1 really is. Number 1 is Daddy Pig's Coaster at Peppa Pig Land. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.